In a dusty corner of an old antique shop, I met a man who would change the way I see the world. He was old, with eyes that held a forgotten history. He introduced himself as Elias, and with a voice that was both weary and proud, he claimed to be a descendant of the lost civilization of Tartaria. Tartaria? The name sounded vaguely familiar, like a whisper from an old, forgotten map. But Elias spoke of it not as a myth, but as a living, breathing memory. He told me that history as we know it is a lie, a carefully constructed narrative designed to hide the truth about a global empire that once flourished. This wasn't just any empire. It was a civilization of giants, of free energy, and of architectural marvels that modern technology struggles to replicate. According to Elias, the Tartarian Empire was a technologically advanced, worldwide civilization that existed until as recently as the 19th or early 20th century. He pointed to the grand, ornate buildings we see in old cities around the world, the ones with impossibly high ceilings, massive doors, and intricate designs. We call them Gothic, Neoclassical, or Beaux-Arts, but Elias called them Tartarian. He said they weren't built by our recent ancestors, but were inherited, repurposed structures from a far more advanced culture. He showed me old photographs and maps. On maps from before the 19th century, a vast territory across Asia and Siberia is labeled Tartary. Mainstream historians say this was just a general term for a region inhabited by various nomadic groups. But Elias, and others who believe in this theory, see it as evidence of a unified empire. They ask, why would mapmakers for centuries label a massive, supposedly unknown area with such a specific name? The story gets even stranger. Elias talked about a great reset, a cataclysmic event, possibly a massive mud flood that wiped Tartaria from our history. He claimed this wasn't a natural disaster. It was an intentional act by a new, rising power that wanted to erase the old world and rewrite history in their own image. He pointed to old photos showing buildings half buried in mud, with windows and doors starting at what we now consider the second or third floor. Architects and historians explain this as buildings settling or city levels rising over time. But for believers, it's proof of a global mud flood that buried the ground floors of the Tartarian world. And what about the people of Tartaria? Elias's eyes twinkled with a mix of sadness and wonder. He spoke of giants. Not the clumsy brutes of fairy tales, but intelligent, benevolent beings who lived alongside regular-sized humans. The giant skeletons occasionally unearthed around the world, often dismissed as hoaxes or misidentified animal bones, are, in his view, the last remaining proof of these Tartarian citizens. The massive doors and high ceilings of their buildings suddenly made sense if they were built for people much, much larger than us. He then pulled out a tattered book filled with sketches of intricate, antenna-like structures on the tops of old buildings. We call them decorative spires or lightning rods. Elias called them atmospheric energy conductors. He explained that the Tartarians had mastered a form of wireless, free energy harnessed directly from the ether. These spires weren't just for decoration. They were power plants, providing clean, limitless energy to their cities. This technology, he claimed, was suppressed by the New World Order, who preferred to sell us energy from fossil fuels and control us through scarcity. The story sounded like something straight out of a science fiction novel. But the more I looked at the evidence, the more questions I had. Think about the world's fairs of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Magnificent, palace-like structures were supposedly built in a matter of months, only to be torn down right after the fair ended. The official story is that they were temporary, made of plaster. But proponents of the Tartaria theory ask, does it make sense to build such elaborate, beautiful structures just to destroy them? Or were these pre-existing Tartarian buildings that were simply showcased and then demolished to hide their true origin? Then there's the mystery of orphan trains. After the American Civil War, hundreds of thousands of children were put on trains and sent across the country to be adopted. The official history says they were orphans of war, poverty, and disease. The Tartarian theory offers a darker explanation. These weren't orphans in the traditional sense, but the surviving children of the destroyed Tartarian civilization. They were separated, their memories wiped, and they were redistributed to be raised in the new world, ensuring the old culture was completely forgotten. It's a chilling thought that turns a chapter of history into a sinister plot. Skeptics, of course, have explanations for all of this. The maps of Tartary were a cartographic convention for a poorly understood region. The mud flood evidence can be explained by urban development and natural soil accumulation. The free energy devices are just architectural flourishes. The giants are hoaxes. And the orphan trains were a social program, however flawed. Mainstream history is built on peer-reviewed evidence, archaeology, and written records, none of which support the existence of a global Tartarian empire. The theory is a classic example of a conspiracy, weaving together unrelated anomalies into a grand, overarching narrative. It's easy to see the appeal. It paints a picture of a lost golden age, a world of beauty, free energy, and harmony, stolen from us by a shadowy cabal. It gives a sense of secret knowledge, of being one of the few who knows the real truth. But as I sat there listening to Elias, I didn't see a conspiracy theorist. I saw a man trying to make sense of a world that felt broken. He wasn't pushing a political agenda or selling a product. He was a storyteller, a keeper of a memory, whether real or imagined. He saw the grandeur of old architecture and felt it was out of place with the official story of our past. He saw inconsistencies and unanswered questions in history and sought an answer that felt more profound. He told me his family had passed this story down for generations, a secret history whispered from parent to child. They were once part of a great and noble culture, and now they lived in the ruins of their own world, their identity erased. Was it true? I honestly don't know. The evidence is circumstantial, and the narrative requires you to distrust every established institution, from academia to government. But the story of Tartaria forces us to look at our world with new eyes. It makes you walk down a city street and wonder about the true age of the buildings around you. It makes you question the neat, tidy timelines presented in history books. It encourages a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to ask, what if? Before I left, Elias gave me an old brass-colored coin. It was heavy, with strange symbols and a figure that looked like an owl. A relic from the old world, he said, to remind you that not everything is as it seems. Whether Tartaria was a real empire of giants and free energy or a modern myth born on the internet, its story serves a purpose. It's a testament to our enduring fascination with lost civilizations, our desire for a more magical past, and our suspicion that there might be more to this world than we're being told. And sometimes, the most captivating stories aren't the ones found in textbooks, but the ones whispered in the dusty corners of an old antique shop by a man with history in his eyes. What do you think? Is there more to our past than we know? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy exploring mysteries like this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.